Wow, hi everyone. Hi everyone. I am completely barefaced right now. Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is nothing new. I've been in a reading slump for the past like 3-4 months. Honestly, the most I read in the past year in 2022 was like in the middle of the year. But I can feel I can feel a reading rage coming on. What's the opposite of a slump? Like a high, a reading high. The whole point of this video today is because I want to commit to an actual weekly vlog because I realize I filmed a lot of things in December wanting to create a vlog, but I didn't because I just felt like everything was so incoherent and nothing was related to books. And I want to be true to my content and my channel, and so I want to talk about books. I would say my success rate at this point is, one book out of five. Like every one book out of five that I start, I would actually finish them, which is terrible because I used to be the kind of reader that would have to read the entire book even if I hated it. But now I just drop books so easily, and I feel no sense of remorse, which is terrible. But I guess that's kind of like a good thing in a way, you know. You shouldn't be guilt tripping yourself over not finishing your books, but at the same time, I do want to finish the books. So the first book I want to talk about is Not Without Us. I think that's the title of the book. I am currently reading it as an advanced reading copy. By the time this video is out, who knows, maybe the book will be out. It depends on how long I take to edit this video. First heard about it during Ethos kind of like year-end media preview thing, which I am so happy that they invited me, despite being such a terrible like consistent content creator on books. I'm just so inconsistent, but I'm so glad that they still have reached out to me to read the books time and time again. And so this book is an anthology. I think it is co-edited by several people who have been pretty well published, I think, or well known in the field of disability studies, and it's a collection about basically disability studies in Singapore, not just from the academic perspective, but a lot of it's also from everyday perspectives, people who collaborate across different spectrums, across different backgrounds, across whatever, and it's really truly interesting. I just started reading the preface and I got it as an e-copy, so I am reading it digitally as of now. Anyway, that's the first book. And I also have these two books that I'm trying to finish. This was one of Wormhole's Surprise Your Shelf picks. And this is a book I picked up like 2 years ago, like pre-COVID. It was not even 2 years, like 3 years ago. And so far, everything I've read in this book has blown my mind, but everything is just so dense that I've never really, I don't know, I just feel like I have to get into a certain headspace to really like appreciate it. And look at the edges, I'm so sorry, it has become really terrible and ragged over the years. 3 years in the making and I still have not finished this book, so we'll see whether at the end of this week this will change. And I feel like this is really relevant to all the talk about AI nowadays with the whole AI art thing and AI generated stuff. I started on this book, but honestly, the first few pages kind of felt like it just whizzed over my head. And I guess that's the whole point. But I kind of feel like I will go through the entire book feeling like I didn't read it. And that's pretty interesting, I guess, for a book to make me feel that way. I guess, there's a question of how you should enjoy books. Is it okay to just have filler books? Books that just kind of whiz through your brain? Would that be okay? And not retaining any information from the book whatsoever, like, is that an acceptable way of appreciating a book? And what does that mean to write a book like that and to consume books like that? I think that is what this book is making me feel right now. Hi everyone, I read... Hi, are you scratching? Day 2 of the reading vlog. I read 2 more chapters of Not Without Us, and I'm really enjoying it, although, you know, even though it claims to not be academic, okay, I guess it's not really academic, but it is more informative than any other descriptor that I have for the book. The first chapter is co-written by 2 people. One is someone who I guess is more of an academic writer, and the other is a bit more of like the artist. And the academic voice claims that, you know, when we talk to people, say neurodivergent identities and conditions, like when they engage with society and when society engages with them, there tends to be a lot of like condensation and a lot of like misconceptions about the way they express themselves, both intellectually and creatively. And, you know, the academic voice tries to push forward this idea that, you know, for people who are neurodivergent, they function on a level that's sensorial, and that is intelligence in itself that oftentimes we cannot express through words. And I really, really appreciate that. I really resonate with that, because I feel like, yeah, I feel like a lot of my world is also sensorial rather than through text. And I've mentioned this many times before, I guess, on my channel. Like, even though I like to read books, ultimately text is not my primary means of experiencing and processing the world. It's actually mostly through my senses, like physical senses. So creatively, I don't write. I don't find words to be the most creatively engaging for me. And I've been thinking about this like neurodivergency a lot. Like it's really cool to see how, you know, the idea of disability studies is not just about like studying people with disabilities, but it's also really thinking about disability as like multiplying perspectives, to situate perspectives from a disability idea. And I think I just want to talk about this book that I read a long time ago. I forgot the title, but I'll put it here if I remember. And it's about like design and disability, and how disability is actually very much a product of design, right? Because design is normative. It creates a norm for the types of people that it serves and its functionality. And so by design, a lot of people are regarded as disabled because they are unable to use the thing or be in a space that is not designed for them. And so the question of like design and disability, right, it's more of like questioning what is inclusive design, and the fact that inclusive design actually benefits not just people who are considered disabled, but actually overall helps to create an inclusive society, and helps to create, you know, a larger understanding or a more diverse understanding of human bodies, of functionality, of like normative whatever, you know. So I'm really glad that I'm reading a book that's situating all of that discourse in Singapore, and I like it so far. Yeah, and I'm learning a lot of new things. I'm glad. I mean, I definitely am coming from a position where I don't know a lot of these things, from a, you know, even from a global or international sort of general level, much less so on a local level. So I'm really, really glad that I get to read this. Yeah. Hi, you wanna say hi?
Hi everyone. This is the next day of the vlog. I'm getting ready to go to work, and honestly, you'll be thinking like, why am I wearing such clothes to work? Actually, the office that I'm at is pretty, I guess, alright with clothes. And yeah, I generally work in the art sector, and generally in the art sector, people don't really care so much what you wear. But anyway, I'm a little bit in a rush, and I'm gonna talk about this book while I get my hair ready, because it's an absolute mess right now. Yeah, and I had an allergic reaction to the food that I had yesterday, so I just kind of broke out in hives all over my body, which is why I'm covered up completely today. Just kind of like to discourage myself from scratching. Anyway, this book is a poetry collection by Daryl Lim Wei-Jie. And honestly, I think it's the first thing I've read anything from him. It has a lot of that like bodily introspection in a grotesque way. But this one has a bit more of like that tongue-in-cheek sort of attitude. The vocabulary in some of these poems are really difficult, but honestly, there are some that are like super straightforward and really interesting. But there is this recurring motif of, you know, things being on discount or prices having doubled, and living in a world that's like capitalistic still, but it's kind of post-capitalism, because like, you know, things are breaking down, like systems are breaking down. Like there is a sense of breaking down of the world in these poems. It feels almost apocalyptic, but at the same time, like things seem to be the same. Like things seem to be as they always were, but yet like there is like this blatant disregard for the fact that things are falling apart. And the, I guess the person who's like, you know, in these poems is kind of just like taking it as inevitable in some ways, but of course in some poems it is a bit of subversion. But honestly, like, okay, for example, there's this last stanza in this first poem of the whole entire collection. Outside of a Sunday, do you know what a strawberry tastes like? I think that really captures the sentiment that I feel about like a lot of people in urban cities today, where so much of what we know about the natural world is artificial. You know, like how does a strawberry actually taste like? How does like certain fruits actually taste like? And you know, I went on a food tour, like a foraging tour a while back, and honestly, like, you know, most fruits don't taste that great. It's just that, you know, humans have perfected the science of like breeding, you know, cross pollinating and like kind of replicating identical genetic duplicates of fruits that taste good. Kind of just made me think of this, like that's really like the sentiment I felt like in this book. Humans still want to exert this control over nature and the environment, and there's this like, we are very much biological matter, but we try our best not to feel like biological matter, even though we are in our essence, in our at our core biological matter. Which this kind of just made me feel again. It's very like urban city breaking down vibes, which I think you can tell from, you know, the cover, which I don't know whether it is specifically Singapore in this cover. Maybe it is, but I don't think this is like specifically about Singapore. Although I'm sure Daryl Lim's like experience living and studying in Singapore definitely shaped this like very capitalistic society, like the way that it kind of is even in our most intrinsic way of thinking. Yeah, but anyway, that is the book. I need to go to work. I'll catch you later when I catch up on my other books. But today we might be seeing some exhibits, which will be really fun, and hopefully I can get to snap some snippets of those.
Hi, it is Saturday and I am finally gonna be reading Not Without Us again. Yeah, I also kind of wanted to talk about the stuff that I went to see yesterday, which was a terrible way of saying that I just went to the Singapore Art Week yesterday. I am actually gonna check it out again during the weekend, so maybe I'll have more thoughts to share about the entire fair. But I did want to say that in the Arts House, which I think you can still go for a while if you are in Singapore, the arts plan is in several places. It's not just like in the Arts House. Like the Collaborative Singlet Station, I think it's under the Creative Economy section. Just here, you can see here the Creative Economy section, like a singlet printing thing where they would print out book recommendations for you based on like what you would select. Which was really cool. And they also, I'm not sure whether it was them as well, but there was another section on Singlet where two books were sort of illustrated in a 360 VR experience. And one of the books was The Minorities, which I love. I mean, it was one of my favorite books from last year that I read. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't a very long excerpt. It was just kind of like a moving illustration which you can look around at, and then there was a narration of a part of the book of which the scene was being illustrated. So it was only like 1 minute long, I think. It wasn't a very long experience. But it was cool. I think this kind of crossover is really cool. And I love how there's a lot more collaborations with like literary work, like literary arts in Singapore. Like a lot of people are kind of cross collaborating with Singlet, which is really cool. I think that's very fun, and I definitely do see a lot of Singlet being like a really great, really great pool of ideas that shouldn't be limited to words, right? Because in the end, all the arts deal with ideas, and even if they start out as words, they can transform over and over again in multiple mediums. I'm getting ready to go out. My hair is kind of like in a mess, and I'm wearing this like this black dress thing. It is a dress. Yes, and I am getting ready to go out to the Singapore Art Week again. And honestly, I don't know how to wear a tie. So I'm just gonna pretend I know how to do a tie. From what I've learned. Is that how you do a tie? Okay, I'm pretty much done with my makeup. I just did a little bit of like grey brown shadow and a little bit of like a brown lip. I'm not gonna wear too much jewelry because in the heat my skin tends to react and I get a lot of rashes. But I did get this cute little piece from Starch. They were having a little like book store like pop-up thing. It's like a bookshop pop-up where a lot of the different artists were selling their stuff, and this is by one of them. I'll put their IG down below because I can't remember what their name was, but it's really cute and I really enjoy these sorts of bracelets. So yeah, this is the final look. just cleaning on.
Accessible CD is where me
It lies on the floor.
don't need to recce each and every new place that we go to.
His eyes open.
Whether or not people go somewhere or not is
I'm back from the library. Just a little errand picking up a book. And just to show you, these are the two books I picked. This I went to collect. I don't know, I just kind of felt like reading a novel. And, you know, I'm preparing to go on a trip to Seoul soon. And I thought maybe to get over a bit of my travel anxiety that I would read a novel written by a Korean author. I don't know how that works. So I think at this point I kind of gave up reading these two books. I mean, they're obviously on my table. The last book I got here is Work-Life Balance. This is by a local like comics publisher called Difference Engine, and I love their stuff. They've sent some stuff to me before. They had like a whole set of things that you could buy along with the book. So I guess if they're still having the promotions on their website, you could check it out. I thought this was really cool. It's like a mix of prose and comic, so I think this will be a pretty fast read. Hi everyone, I am gonna wrap up this vlog right now. I'm getting ready to go out to eat lunch with a friend. Anyway, I wanted to end the vlog by talking about this and this. I am still reading this, so no review as of yet. But I just wanted to end by talking about this one, Eastern Heathens. Eastern Heathens. Is that how I pronounce it? Heathens? And I did mention before how I've been very into like folklores or like modern retellings of folk laws and just mythology in general. And actually during the Singapore Art Week, I did see a lot of that as well. So I do think it's a very like common creative exploration generally that responds really well to the modern society, because modern society is so-called global, even though it's just Eurocentric. And then things about culture and things about like indigenous identity and things like that, it's a very common theme, which is great that it's common nowadays. I think for this one, it's really like creative retellings of certain folktales. Some of them are like literally retellings of the folktales in their own time and age.
time and context, but some are like modern retellings, so it's like today's age and then retellings. I did read this book that was about Vietnamese eco-fiction. I couldn't finish the book in time because it was a library book, and honestly, like, I read everything except for the last story because it was really long. I wish I could see more of that, generally, not just like, because that one was specifically Vietnamese eco-fiction, but I do think there's a great potential to do that with general narratives across regions. I mean, not just Southeast Asian, but also like beyond Southeast Asian, but also specifically Southeast Asian. I do think there's some hit and misses, like some short stories, it wasn't so clear what the retelling was really doing to the story. But what I really appreciated was that there is an explanation, of the folktale in its most like concise way at the end, and then it's also kind of like a description of the author, and I guess that gives a better understanding of maybe why these folktales were retold in the way that the author wanted to. Juxtapose this with this, I got these two books roughly around the same time. This is quite literally a retelling of the folktale as true to its origins as possible. Anyway, I wanted to end this vlog by talking about these kind of folklorish books, which I think there are a lot of, and I'm sure there are a lot of these books across all regions, not just Southeast Asian. This one is just like generic Asian. I mean, this is just more generally Asian. This is more Southeast Asian, and I suspect this is also a bit more Southeast Asian. So all these are like kind of short stories too, and I just wanted to share all these books, which is really, really cool, and very excited to continue reading this because this is mostly a graphic novel with some prose, and very cool to see like the illustrations. So that's the end of my reading week. Again, I don't think I completed any books here. I'm still reading Not Without Us. I'm kind of like halfway through now, and it's really, really cool, but I will be sharing more about that, I think, in my January wrap-up, because the book is not out till February, so technically I can't give a full review until then. So yeah, thanks for joining me in this weekly vlog. I hope you enjoyed the whole range of things I did, not just reading, but like things I saw. And one of you actually DM'd me saying that you saw me at the one of the art exhibitions, but was like too shy to say hi. Honestly, just say hi. I'm totally chill with it. It's really nice to see people in real life, like people who know my content in real life, although I'm still a bit like embarrassed about it, but it's been really, really nice to know that people still enjoy books and people still enjoy like all the things that I'm interested in, and I'm more than happy to always like share these things with you all. So it would be fun if it's like two-way as well, although I'm really bad at communicating, I'm really bad at replying people, so I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, thanks for that, and yeah, so I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully my January wrap-up. Yes, please take care and rest well, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Please get lots of rest this year, and I hope it'll be a lovely, nice, kind year for you all. So bye and see ya.